Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. We got a lot to discuss, so let's go ahead and just jump right into it. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Hope you're having an amazing day. Hope you're enjoying your Sunday. Hope everybody's doing well. So we got to talk about Black Monday. We got to talk about Trump.
Should be 100% of the black people should vote for Trump, because I did more for black people than any president other than Abraham Lincoln. It's true. It's true. I did more than any president other than Abraham Lincoln. Think of it, criminal.
We got to talk about Biden. We got to talk about the banks. We got to talk about the crash and the crisis that's happening, that's coming. Come on, folks. We got to talk about everything that we should be discussing collectively as a group, as we are, as a community, as a family, so that we aren't left in the dark. You know, there's things that they don't want us to know, that they don't want us to discuss, okay, folks? And I'm going to bring it to you. If you appreciate that, then just give this video a thumbs up. It means a lot. Subscribe to the channel, just takes a second. And if you want to go into a deeper dive on this, then there's links down below in the description on ways that you can contact me, as well as joining in exclusive conversations on Patreon and joining the mastermind. But don't worry, I will continue to bring you guys all the updates that I can on this platform, but there are obviously certain things that I can't discuss here in great detail, and you guys know why. And I really would love to hear what you guys have to say, so feel free to send me anything you'd like to share. I greatly appreciate it. The more we know, the more we share, the more we talk, the more we discuss, the more we have these conversations and work towards building a sustainable future and preparing ourselves to be ready for what's happening, literally happening, as I'm going to share with you guys. You're going to see in great detail. Stick around. Don't click out of this video. There's a lot we got to talk about, a lot we got to discuss. Let's get to it.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How's everybody doing tonight? I'd like to welcome to the stage.
They don't wanna know how you get to me. Let them feel how they feel in the Philistines. Cause this never left the epitome.
Oh man, where do we begin? Baby boomers aren't going to crash the housing market. They're powering it. February jobs report expected to show healthy hiring increase, but down from the blockbuster gains in January. We need more homes in general. The Biden administration says housing crisis can't be corrected until we build a lot more. The S&P 500 just set its 16th all-time high of the year, or the new year, and Powell warns that commercial real estate woes will lead to bank failures. This is a problem that we'll be working on for years. And in other news, sad, tragic, troubling, disturbing, an Ohio Chick-fil-A owner drove across states to commit statutory rape of a 15-year-old. And here we thought the migrants were our biggest problem. Trump is a Rolling Stone headline, 100% of the black people should vote for Trump, end quote. Trump said, I did more for black people than any president other than Abraham Lincoln. I guess I know who I'll be voting for. We got the great cash out. Jeff Bezos, Leon Black, Jamie Dimon, and the Walton family have now sold a combined $11 billion in company stock this month, some for the first time ever. But the big question being, do they know something that we don't? Well, we know the answer to that. Of course they do. Look at the smile on his face. That looks like somebody who knows something that we don't. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg has sold $1.2 billion in stock over the past 4 months. High-profile CEOs, founders, and heirs are selling stock by the bucket load in the companies that made them billionaires. For nearly the entire bunch, share prices are trading near all-time highs. Jeff Bezos sold Amazon shares worth $8.5 billion in multiple transactions this month. Meanwhile, Jamie Dimon, chairman and CEO of JP Morgan Chase, sold $150 million in stock last week, his first cash out since taking the top job at the bank 18 years ago. Sounds like a long time in the making. After 18 years, you decide to sell? Around the same time, Leon Black, co-founder and former CEO of Apollo Global Management, shed $172.8 million in stock Also, a first ever stock sale. The writing's on the wall, folks. Maybe there's something to this. Do you have any stocks to sell? In dozens of trades since the beginning of February, Mark Zuckerberg unloaded about 1.4 million shares of Meta stock worth roughly $638 million. This is according to an analysis from insider stock sales data firm Verity. This latest batch of sales came after previously culling 588,200 shares in November, 688,400 in December, and 447,200 in January. He sold nearly 600 million worth in the 3 months leading up to February, and his proceeds from combined sales during the past 4 months have reached $1.2 billion. Now look, guys, this is not financial advice. I am not a stockbroker. I am not a financial advisor. I am not an economist. I am not telling you what to do. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't have insider information, but I do have thoughts and I do have opinions. And I think that we probably are all of the opinion that we are in an election year, and this presidential landscape is very intriguing, very interesting. And although there is more than likely somebody at the top who, or a group of people whom are controlling the whole thing, there still has to be some form of normalcy or possibility of chance. Think of it as a casino, and there's a high rollers room, and you obviously have to be of a certain net worth to even be invited and entered in. The buy-in is going to be unbelievably high, but you're not guaranteed to win, but you are allowed to play. And that is essentially what I'm seeing happening right now. These folks aren't guaranteed to win, but they're allowed to play. But they also feel like they know that by November, something big is going to happen. Now, I talked about this in my last video, my previous video, my thoughts and opinions on the change that's coming, the interruption we're going to see, the reset, the reversion back to what was. I guess the big question would be, if and when this happens, would Biden try to run for president again 4 years from now? But that is something so far down the line, we mustn't worry ourselves over things that we cannot control. However, to see this happening, it's a double play. It's a double play, okay? They sell. What does that do? It immediately puts them in an extremely strong cash position, okay? If you're gonna make money in this game, you gotta buy low and you gotta sell high, okay? So they sell. Now they're cash heavy, okay? There's also a shitload of real estate inventory out there that nobody knows about. Nobody's talking about these REOs that exist out there.
John Hoffman is a fellow real estate broker. He owns a company in Illinois. He specializes in bank-owned properties, working for the bank, doing broker price opinions when people stop paying their mortgage. So after 90 days, they call up John, put him to work. He has to value the property, and guess what happens then? Fannie Mae has been bundling these loans and selling them to Wall Street companies for a lot less, like 30 to 50 cents on the dollar of the actual value of the home. Why are they doing that? Well, let's dive in. John, thanks so much for joining me. Actually talking about a lot of the truth that's going on in the market today. And we're not seeing it in the mainstream media. And I'm talking about pre-foreclosures, people that should be losing their homes, but for whatever reason, and we'll dive into it, they're not. But just introduce yourself to everyone and let's get started.
Yeah, John Hoffman. I've owned Y-Rent real estate company, downtown Batavia, Illinois. I've had that since 2001. Got into the REO field in 2007, which is basically the foreclosure field. Been in that since 2007. We all know the last couple of years, the REO has pretty much been eliminated, but you know, it's always has a life, and it's going to be here now or it's going to be here later, and it may be messy later. So, but thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
John, why is it that we're not seeing the foreclosures?
Well, basically the four main, like HUD, Fannie, Freddie, VA, they've basically kept those under wraps. They don't want the blood on their hands. They don't want the foreclosures in the system. We have an election year. This isn't about Trumping or riding with Biden or politics. The reason they're doing it is political, but it's not. It doesn't matter which side you're on. They should not be doing this because there's in every market you're going to have some pain, just like people losing their cars. Some people just can't pay, and granted that's bad, but it's healthy. I mean, things need to change. It's a fresh start for a new buyer. And with basically the government suppressing all these properties, it's creating more demand and making people pay over what they should be paying when these properties could be out in the mix. That's, to me, is the biggest issue I see.
They're avoiding foreclosures. The people are still delinquent, right? So we're talking about people that would, if in a normal banking market, you pay, you stay, you don't, you won't.
Correct.
You have to pay your mortgage. You have to pay your car payment. You have to pay your student loan. You pay, everything's great. Why are they not foreclosing on these houses? We know that FHA delinquencies are almost 10%.
No, correct.
Why aren't they foreclosing on these properties? You said it's political, but who's paying the bill?
Well, we are. We're paying the bill. I mean, the forbearance, basically forbearance is kind of it's like a closet that we can keep all these properties in. Okay. And whether the guy can pay or not, and I bet donuts to dollars that a large majority of these in forbearance have no intention of ever paying. Okay. But it's a safe place to put them for now, just to get them out of the system. And I mean, there's stats. I mean, I can pull out a quick stat for you on the forbearance. Okay. This is from the Philadelphia Fed. Okay. 22.5% of the forbearance self-cured. So they solved their problem. So 22%. Okay. So, basically a fifth of people in forbearance got out of forbearance on their own. Category 2 became current with help. Okay. 22% of those were repayment plans. Okay. So in other words, you're taking what this guy owes, kicking some of it to the back. You're not solving this guy's problem by doing a repayment plan. Some people you will. Maybe some of these people get out of it. But I would bet you a lot of these are never going to come out of this alive. They're just, everything else is going to catch up to them. The inflation is going to catch up to them. The taxes. You got homeowners insurance going up. You can't forbearance homeowners insurance. I mean, it's got to be paid. And that's going to start killing these people. They're in modifications. 20% of them are in modification. Some of them have just disappeared. They've stopped responding to the bank. The bank stole us. Can't get a hold of them. So they're just floating in forbearance, and the court system's backed up to where they don't, these files are just going to sit here and float until we get to something's going to have to push all this through. What that is, I don't know. I don't know what it's going to take. Maybe a change in the presidency. I don't know. I'm not saying either way, but this process is not moving the way it's supposed to. Guaranteed. Okay. I've been doing foreclosure since 2007. And I've never seen anything like this, ever. So
you have...
Maybe they buy up real estate. Maybe they switch their position from stocks to cash to real estate. Maybe. But with the sell-off, it now creates a bit of a stir. And it's making headlines. People are making videos about it. Everyone's talking about it. As they sell, they manipulate the valuation of the company, of the stock. Or the shares. They create panic. Others begin to sell. As others begin to sell, stock prices drop. Who's got the strongest cash position to come back in and scoop them up at a discounted price to drive the stock back up? Literally, the greatest wealth transfer we have ever seen in history is happening right now, and nobody's even paying attention to the warning signs. They're distracting you with the pinstripes on the uniforms, I think is what they said. I think that's how it went.
You know why the Yankees always win, Frank?
Because they have Mickey Mantle?
No, it's because the other teams can't stop staring at those damn pinstripes. Watch this.
But let's just say they're also anticipating a change in who is at the helm as President of the United States of America, Commander-in-Chief in the White House, knowing that this is going to create a period of uncertainty and turmoil within business, within politics, of course, within international policy, and within stock prices. You don't think that our stock market is completely comprised of U.S. and American shareholders, do you? What are the domino effect trickling impacts that would happen globally when Trump becomes president, Biden is removed from office, and now folks over in China and Russia, these other countries, decide they want to make some changes in the stock market? You can't tell me that this isn't happening. Everybody I know, all the people that I talk to, they all say the same thing. And we are all banking on, waiting on what we know to be inevitable. What we know is happening, what we know is coming. Trump put up a $91 million bond. He don't care. He'll appeal, he'll become president, and then all hell's gonna break loose, okay? Now, I'm not gonna call this a SHTF moment, but it will be a SHTF moment. Shit will be hitting the fan for those who aren't aware, for those who aren't paying attention, for those who are being distracted by the wrong information, depending on who your sources are. But again, this is not financial advice, and I don't have a crystal ball. I don't have any insider intel. I cannot predict the future, but I will remember this video, and odds are the video before it and subsequent videos to come, as we can look back and see if I was right or see if I was dead wrong. Should be a fun little game we play either way. Now, it says here that similarly, the trust for the Walton family, heirs to Walmart's founder, sold $1.5 billion in Walmart stock this month, and the family owns about 45% of the Walmart's shares, according to Bloomberg. Many of the sales were made according to 10b5-1 trading plans that the executives set up late last year and early this year. These trading plans are created in advance so that shares are automatically sold by a broker at a specific date or when the stock hits a certain price. They're set up to be triggered at a time when the executive doesn't possess material, non-public information that could potentially move the stock price, and gives the executives a defense against potential insider trading charges by regulators. Their words, not mine, folks. They're literally telling you what they're doing here. There's loopholes in the system. There's games within the games to be played, and they are playing them. The sales come as the S&P 500 index is at an all-time high, rising 28% in the past year. The NASDAQ Composite Index is up nearly 40% the past year. Black of Apollo Global Management was the one founder of the bunch to sell outside of the 10b5-1 trading plan. His spokesperson said that the trade was made as part of a routine tax and estate planning and to boost the growth of his family office, Elysium Management. The Walton family sales were also outside of the 10b5-1 plan. A 2015 statement from the Walton family said that its members will sell shares from time to time to curb increases in its ownership of the retail giant. The Waltons set up the trust that same year and told Walmart that it had no set timetable for sales of company stock. And as you can see here, this is the calm before the storm. Their words, not mine. Alan Johnson, a compensation consultant who works with financial services firms, said the stock sales could be the result of the election possibly shaking things up in the fall. I am literally reading this for the first time with you guys, okay? We're discovering this together. Thus, if an executive is currently more in the money than expected, diversifying their holdings is a good idea. Plus, wealthy stockholders may be taking advantage of tax breaks implemented during the Trump administration, noted Johnson, in case they are eliminated under any new administration or Congress after the upcoming elections. You don't do these things, you don't make these changes if you yourself feel very confident in the fact that things themselves won't change, which means that we are about to see a changing of the guard here, folks. MAGA 2.0. If you're reading the tea leaves and looking at what may happen with our politics in the next year or so, things are pretty good right now. The markets are up, said Johnson, president of Johnson Associates. With our politics and everything else going on geopolitically, maybe it won't be as good a year from now or 2 years from now. Look, I feel it. I feel it inside. I don't know if you guys can feel it. As for Diamond, Johnson said the bank CEO is known for holding stock in the company, a tactic that has enriched him. Diamond's net worth, according to Forbes, is $2.1 billion. The way he, of course, became fabulously wealthy was to get the stock, keep it, and have the stock price go up, said Johnson. What's unusual about him selling is he's doing it so late in his career. Most executives would have sold moderate amounts along the way, he explained. That doesn't necessarily mean anything about Diamond's tenure at the bank potentially having an end date, said Johnson. But, and I quote, a joke I've used with clients is that looking back 10 years from now, one of the questions we'll be asking is, who's going to replace Jamie Dimon at JP Morgan? And he said, we've been asking that question for 10 years already. Look, guys, this is only the beginning, okay? And if we see not only a new president, but if we see Jamie Dimon no longer CEO of JP Morgan Chase, if we see Brian Moynihan no longer CEO of Bank of America, if we see Doug McMillon no longer CEO of Walmart, and quite possibly, pay close attention, we see Barry Sternlicht have a giant smile on his face, well, the writing's on the wall, folks. But in regard to what in fact has to happen in order for these things to come to fruition, the presumptive GOP presidential nominee, Donald Trump, riding high on his Super Tuesday blowout with his only contender, Nikki Haley, dropping out of the race, took to a podium in Rome, Georgia on Saturday for a Get Out the Vote rally as his Democratic opponent, President Joe Biden, also appeared in the battleground state in dueling campaign visits following Biden's rousing State of the Union address. Self-awareness does not appear to be one of Trump's finer suits, and this speech was no exception as he opened by mocking Biden's stutter. When Trump's own speech was filled with plenty of gaffes, he inaccurately referred to himself as Biden's top and only political appointment, called Putin potent, and glitched out among other troubles pronouncing words during his speech. He often referred to himself in the third person as he is wont to do. I don't know why it says that. As he is wont to do. That doesn't make any sense. As his campaign marches on towards the general election, Trump has not strayed too far from his usual unhinged remarks, such as claiming E. Jean Carroll made false allegations against him, going after Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, even though he is no longer in the race, and endorsed him, and saying that he will stop the invasion when it comes to the border, calling migrants horrible people. We can see here on this post on Twitter, the platform formerly with the blue bird logo, now replaced by an X. Trump, 100% of the black people should vote for Trump because I did more for black people than any president other than Abraham Lincoln. It's true. It's true. I did more than any president other than Abraham Lincoln. On Saturday, he revisited another old claim for which he says, I did more for black people than any president other than Abraham Lincoln. It's true. It's true. It's what Trump said. I did more than any president other than Abraham Lincoln. Think of it. Criminal justice reform. I took care of the black colleges and universities. He also made similar claims in 2020, which historians disputed, with several citing Lyndon B. Johnson, who signed into law the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965, as the Washington Post reported at the time. And while it's true, Trump signed bipartisan legislation into law that made permanent $255 million in annual STEM funding for minority-serving colleges, with around $85 million for HBCUs. This was not Trump's own doing, as Inside Higher Ed pointed out at the time. Moreover, his administration's record with HBCUs were mixed. But I will say, the most interesting part about this all is the fact that none of this really matters. None of this amounts to a hill of beans when it comes to whether or not Trump is going to win the 2024 presidential election. And it also doesn't matter because people know what they know. They trust what they believe to be the truth, and they will shun anything that they believe to be a lie. They are going to vote for who they want to vote for, and if they're on the fence, then their vote probably doesn't even matter anyway. Obviously, the Democrats, the Biden administration, is seemingly trying to pad their vote, possibly. Who knows? They're flying in hundreds of thousands of folks at a time. Is this for that reason? But mainly, primarily, the reason why it doesn't matter, why none of this matters, why Trump can say whatever he wants and get away with it, why Biden can do whatever he wants and get away with it, why literally anybody who isn't you or I, who potentially has the ability to be above the law, can get away with whatever they want because it doesn't matter. Because as Candace Owens shared on one of her videos, we will exist in a constant state of present, and history will cease to exist, and whatever history exists will be manipulated by those who have the access and ability to manipulate it, and it will then be whatever they want it to be. There will be no books. The best we'll have is the ability to recall and share stories amongst ourselves verbally, because the internet will be taken over, overrun, controlled by those, pulling the strings and behind the curtains, and AI, for which they write the code for, that's designed to multiply, amplify, exponentially increase their ability to execute on this long plan since the days of Thoth and the pyramids in ancient Egypt. Here we are, folks. Get ready. Trump said on Saturday, it should be 100% of the black people should vote for Trump. When he spoke at a Black Conservative Federation Honors Gala last month, Trump claimed that the black people like me, because of his 4 criminal indictments, adding, I'm being indicted for you, the black population. Well, thanks, Trump. I appreciate it. Mighty white of you. Oh, honestly, I love everything that he's doing. It really, I don't take offense. I don't take it personally. I think that this is an excellent strategy. He is going about this as he should, as a business that he wants to be successful in, and a game that he wants to play, and he will not lose. He is not willing to accept defeat. We could all learn something from somebody like Donald J. Trump. Now, we've got 4 economic reports that the market cares about most next week, including a fresh look at inflation. Wall Street ended the week lower despite the S&P 500 notching an all-time closing high on Thursday, and the NASDAQ composite hitting an intraday record Friday before dropping more than 1% in the session. The Dow Jones Industrial Average registered its worst week since October, falling 0.93%. The S&P 500 and tech-heavy NASDAQ lost 20.26% and 1.17% respectively. Why does this matter? Why is this important? Well, I'm glad that you asked. It's because tomorrow is a big day. Tomorrow is Black Monday 2.0. Here, listen to what This Is John Williams has to say.
What's up, guys? John here. Black Monday 2.0 begins in 32 hours. The original Black Monday was October 19th, 1987, where economic growth slowed for 3 quarters and inflation was rising, and it ensued massive panic, ripping $1.71 trillion out of the market. The Dow was at that time about 2,600, and then it dropped overnight into the 1,700 range. So when you see what is happening on Monday, it will all make sense why all the billionaires are selling. You know, Jeff Bezos, the Walton family, Leon Black, Jamie Dimon, CEO of JP Morgan Chase, they ripped out $11 billion just this month from the stock market. Not to mention Warren Buffett sold out $28 billion worth of stock through Berkshire Hathaway several months ago. So when you start to look at everything that's unfolding and these 3 new laws that all take place on Monday, it will all make a lot of sense.
He's warning everybody, but do they really know something that we don't know? Check this out. Here's a map, or actually several maps, mapped out where do the wealthiest people in the world live. The ultra wealthy, that is. This map shows where individuals with a net worth of $30 million or more, ultra high net worth individuals, UHNWIs, live around the world according to the Knight Frank Wealth Report 2024. It's funny because I actually saw a video the other day titled $10,000 is not a lot of money. And I didn't watch the video. I haven't seen it. Big Ward the Genius, I believe. I haven't seen it, but it's a valid point. And I'm going to make my own opinion about this video. I haven't seen it, but based on the title, everybody that I've heard from, all the comments that I've read, people are getting bent out of shape about migrants getting $10,000, migrants getting $20,000, the illegals situation, taxpayer dollars funding this crisis. But it's not a lot of money. When you think about it, it's not a lot of money. It really isn't. If you had $10,000, if you had $20,000 right now, think about it. If you had $20,000 given to you right now, given to you, but there's a catch, okay? There's a catch. And the catch is you're only allowed to keep whatever is left over after you have paid off all of your bills. Every single debt that you owe, you have to pay for. We're talking about student loans. We're talking about credit cards. We're talking about buy now, pay laters. We're talking about back child support. Sorry, there's fuzz on my microphone. It's really distracting. We're talking about mortgage. We're talking about, any outstanding medical bills. Everything has to be paid off. You don't have to tell me what the number is, but I just want you to think. If you want, feel free, jump in the comments. But if you were given 20 grand cash, you can keep whatever's left. You don't have to pay taxes on it or nothing. My GoPro got too hot. That joker shut off. Or maybe I got it too hot. I don't know which one it was. But you gotta pay off all your debt first. Number one, do you know what your total debt liability obligation is? Number two, is it over or under $20,000? Let's just say you owe 10 grand total. So now you walk away with 10 grand cash. Okay. Are you rich? No. Are you wealthy? No. Are you set for life? Absolutely not. It's not a lot of money. It's not a lot of money when we have maps showing us where the wealthiest, the ultra wealthiest in the world live. And in order to qualify, you have to have over $30 million as your net worth. Think about that. All right, I'm going to try to finish this up with my phone. Sorry, guys. The format's going to be completely different, but the GoPro is too hot right now. But yeah, so there's the map. You can see where these folks live. And I would be willing to bet that a lot of these folks have multiple residences and they can bounce around the globe just in case, depending on what pops off, what happens next. And maybe this map can be used to really connect some of these dots with what's going on and how much money is being pulled out of the system the looming banking collapse and crisis, everything that's happening right now. And it's March 10th, 2024. We got a ways to go before we get to November. We got a ways to go before we get to November, folks. Yeah. So can you imagine what's going to happen between now and then? Please stay close. Please stay tuned, because I'm going to continue to bring you guys more of these updates and these talks and these conversations. And hopefully it can help us all get better prepared and ready for what's coming as we analyze and dissect it in real time. More of which will be uploaded specifically to Patreon. So there's a link in the description if you want to join over there, where Michelle and I, we create and upload videos that we never post to YouTube, or at least we can't for a variety of reasons. And you guys know why. Moving on. Speaking of financial advice, we got Richard Fain here, which is actually kind of crazy because even he's talking about it. It started. The Great Crash. Black Monday 2.0 begins in 24 hours. And this was streamed a while ago, and I took the screenshot a while ago. So we're under 24 hours, folks. No time to dilly-dally. We mustn't ignore the warning signs. We mustn't waste time. Do this now, he says. Richard Fain's got nearly 700,000 subscribers. It's probably for a reason, okay? He's got a Ferrari, or at least he's got a Ferrari in the picture. I think he still has a Porsche 911 GT3, and he may have some other exotic cars. He's got some fancy, expensive luxury watches and timepieces. He's got this mansion that he just purchased in, I think, Naples or Fort Myers in Florida. Richard Fain, he used to manage a bank. I mean, the dude knows money, and he's really rich. He's got a lot of money. He talks about investing all the time. He's got different affiliates with Webull and Moomoo to buy stocks. I wonder if he's selling any of his stocks. I wonder if he's selling off, because he says he's buying assets every day. I wonder if he's selling like Zuckerberg and Diamond and the heirs to the Walmart, the Walton family. I wonder, in the Walton Trust, I wonder if he's selling like they are too. He also says here, I'm done. Tesla stock is a total scam. But more importantly, this next video here says they don't like me anymore. They don't like me anymore. Now, what could that be about? What could that be about? Does it have anything to do with him as a YouTuber and content creator? Or does it go deeper than that? Is it about his financial position and his investment practices and theories and principles and philosophies? This comment here says, it's weird having a strong opinion about something you clearly know very little about. Is that a jab at Richard Fain? Huh. We dive in. A response says he's a safe investor. It's not for everyone. So maybe it was. Maybe it was. Safe investor or not, in response, it's still weird to have such a strong opinion on something you know nothing about. Now, I don't know what they're talking about because I haven't watched this video, but the last response here says he's not a gambler. And in the stock market, in a variety of investment vehicle options, you can essentially become a gambler if you are wagering bets versus investing wisely for the long haul. This isn't a get rich quick overnight scheme. Time in the market is greater than timing the market. But we actually have a few more comments here. They're laughing at this guy. Everyone has the right to have an opinion. Where did I say he couldn't have an opinion? It seems like they're really going back and forth here, guys. And, it's really getting out of hand. So I'm going to back out of this one. Interestingly enough, I made a video just the other day. What content should I make on YouTube? And I got some really interesting responses back in the comment section. One of which stated, how about investing for passive income, financial literacy? Maybe that's going to happen in the future. If you guys want a video about investing for passive income, financial literacy, just put a number 1 in the comment section. That way I know. I'll know you made it this far in the video, and I'll know that you're interested. Saving money, best stores, show us the weird weather, talk about AI. Yeah, I tell you what, guys, We'll definitely be talking about this. I don't know what the best stores are in regard to. I don't know exactly what that means, but show us the weird weather. I mean, I really can't help it with, my sunroof open here. You guys can see. There's actually some folks that were kind of been out of shape today about DST and losing an hour of sleep. And then also I saw somewhere there was a pattern of weather that they were saying that they were ruining the skies. We have some other suggestions here. Will it run? I wish I had the ability. I wish I had a garage. I wish I had the time to really build something to create a series of Will It Run? Or maybe I could go buy something, Will It Run, bring a trailer, see if I can get it started. Kind of like a Rich Rebuilds type deal. But that dude's a certified genius, so he's got me beat. But yeah, crazy stuff happening, folks. Another huge blunder. This one from Midas Touch says, the GOP makes massive mistake in key swing state, and they're pointing to a black man holding a MAGA hat. What does this mean, folks? What should we be preparing for? Oh, and look at this comment here. Heads up. How are we going to maintain the middle class? Are y'all for serfdom? Now, I was actually having this chat with a friend of mine yesterday or the day before about that very thing, about the middle class. As we've discussed numerous times before, but it honestly, it's never been more clear. And in my opinion, I can't say that it's ever been more important than now. Because at the end of the day, that's all they're going to say. If the middle class is even remembered in history, as they will be rewriting history as it happens, okay? And there will be no more middle class. In essence, those who feel as though they are above middle class now will become, by definition, the new middle class. And the middle class, the folks out there who can't afford to miss a paycheck, the folks out there who are already behind, barely make enough money just to be broke, the people out there who say that they're tired of being broke and tired of being poor, the folks out there who, if they don't get the hours they need or have any sort of emergency, they could wind up not being able to pay their bills, being evicted or foreclosed on. Unfortunately, the way that this works is you got two options. The first option is we're going to continue to see more of the same. If you were rich, you're going to continue to be rich and richer. If you were poor, more of the same. You're going to continue to be poor and broke and poorer and broker, okay? And this is not just a mindset. This is a reality, okay? And if we see the other option, well, guess what? The door is open. You're going to have a huge opportunity. There won't be more of the same. There literally will be opportunity. But let me just pose this question to you guys, okay? Think about it like this. Let's just look at housing and real estate, okay? Real estate is overpriced. Housing is unaffordable. Interest rates are too high, okay? If we see a change, if we see a shift, a pivot, an opportunity, a door to open. This is another question, kind of like the 20 grand that I presented to you guys. If home prices came down 30% and interest rates stayed the same, because I'm going to tell you guys right now, home prices can't come down while interest rates come down. It can't exist. It won't happen. But if home prices come down 30% and interest rates stay the same, would you be able to buy that house you wanted? If a $500,000 house came down 30%, making it $350,000 instead of $500,000, would you be able to buy it? With the wages that you earn now, with the credit score that you have, with the debts that you have already, would you be able to buy it? Because that's the option. There's a crash, there's a reset that incorporates everybody. But unfortunately, if you're already within that middle class that is worried, that's panicked, that can't sleep at night, that has so much anxiety built up, doesn't have a plan, doesn't have a solution, when that opportunity hits, you're going to be stuck in the same position that you are stuck in now, in the same position that you were stuck in before. And they don't care. They truly don't care. You know they don't care. You know that, right? I'm gonna see if I can get this GoPro to record a little bit before it heats up again and cuts off. But there's that map I was telling you guys about with the weather changes. But we got a lot going on here down here in Florida that I wanted to share with you, especially about daylight savings time. And they say the sky bastards are currently turning our blue skies into a white hazy mess. What do you guys think about the daylight savings time? I listened to a little bit of Pinball Preparedness this morning. He was talking about it. I don't think he's a fan of it. He seemed a little disgruntled about it. But yeah, we can see here, this is John Williams. The great crash is started.
Rising, and it ensued massive panic, ripping $1.71 trillion out of the market. The Dow was at that time about 2,600.
March 11th, 2024. Now, I will say that it's interesting how John Williams approaches this, and in comparison to how another channel approaches this from Coin Bureau. Comment down below. You guys watch Coin Bureau?
Recently, some famous billionaires have started selling various stocks, cashing in on billions of dollars in profit. This begs the question, have we hit the market top, or do we still have room to run? Today, we'll take a closer look at the investments made by the mega rich to find out if this profit-taking is just dumb luck, or if they know something that the rest of us don't. One of these billionaires is Jeff Bezos. At the time of filming.
Hey guys, I appreciate you. Thanks for watching. I hope you got a lot out of this, a lot of value. If you got any questions, reach out. Let me know, hit me up. And until the next one, you guys take care, be safe. I'll see you real soon. Bye.